Got some more stuff in for our solar project. More cable. And one of these things. Try and make sure we don't die. So this is going to need a little practice. People explained to me how to use this thing before, and I managed to do it at that point. But if you now ask me how to measure amps or volts or watts or whatever, I have no idea. There's a battery already. Oh, we're starting to accumulate a lot of stuff for this. Cables, connector thingies, and we also bought this thing. The girls are barking a lot today. But I don't hear anything or see anything. Look at this thing. If you want to nip off a finger, reset, work. So it has all these different kind of inserts. This is the big one we need for the big cable. 70 mil. The big cable is 70 mil. This. And that was on the specification of the inverter. So that cable should actually be able to fit in the inverter. Then we need to get one of these like round thingies on it. That's where this thing comes in handy. But as with everything, maybe I should read the instructions. So this was quite expensive, but also like not widely available. It mostly goes up to like 50, I think, 50 mil, but not 70 mil. But this one does. Gourmet à la carte. Which one is which? You both have almost the same amount. That's not okay. I think we have a little bit more today, do we? Bon appétit! Very small screws, but it needs a very big head. I don't know, but these holes don't look to me like they're big enough to fit that cable. Although I ordered it to specification, I think. I really don't think that's going to fit in there. That will be a wasted 130 euros. These are too big. Yeah, this is the ones. I can see already that there's not fitting in there. Well, it's fitting in the front part, but it needs to go all the way to the back, and that ring is not going to fit in that. Maybe this one would fit. That's a lot smaller. A manual. And a manual tells us battery connection. Model 1500 watts, 6 AWG, 2500 watts, 4 AWG. Other models, 2 AWG. Okay, but this is... Girls, por favor. Today you're making me crazy. Both of you. I hear nothing. Nada. Thank you, não necessário. Agora, não necessário. Okay, but this is the inverter. And of course I looked at the battery also. And in the battery manual it says cables included. There are 2 big cables included with the battery. That is for connecting the batteries like in parallel. But then it says external cable kits, cable connected to the inverter or junk box, belong to external cabling kit. It is not included in the battery carton. Customers need to buy it separately and the information as shown below. This is the information shown below. And it says here, battery to inverter positive cable. 2/0 AWG. 2000 millimeter. And here's the same for the black one. So, may have needlessly spent money. Look at all those oranges. These are the first ones this year. It's like half of January. I never realized that oranges grow in the, are ripe in the winter. Maybe it has a reason with all the vitamin C. So me assuming that it would be better to order it too big, the cable, for too much capacity than too small, was not really not true, because it needs to fit into your inverter. The other cable we bought is 8WG, and that's for doing all the AC inputs and outputs. That should work. And then we have the PV, and the PV has already here his own cables. And those are actually 2 AWG, so like 40 millimeters square. It's all new for me, guys. I'm learning. Don't worry, we won't touch anything with power until we learn about it. I would also fancy a couple of more years. But the problem we ran into now, with me thinking that a bigger cable wouldn't harm, is that we actually don't have the right cable now. So not that we were gonna connect anything anytime soon, but I thought I would maybe prepare some cables and see if it all fit. So we need to order 2 AWG. We'll figure that out later. What does it need to be? PV connection model 6.2 kVA. It needs to be 12. Cable size 12 AWG. So then 8WG would also suffice for that, I think. But let's check that cable that is on there. If that's at least 12 AWG, then we should be fine. I'm getting confused already. AWG. 8 AWG. That is then, which one do we need for that? Because this is in mils. Oh, it says on the thing. Look, it says on the thing. So that should be for this. It doesn't say on these thingies what is the size, because here it says EN2516, EN1612, EN7020, but it doesn't tell me anything. So this should be the one for the 8. No, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do swinky swinky. So the 8WG must be this one or bigger. And this is a 8WG cable. It feels very loose on there. Let's give it a try. If we can find out how this thing works. Reset. Ah! And it opens up. Okay, so if you pull the knob one way, it goes back in, then you put it on work, then it works basically, I think, like a car jack. Yeah. At some point you have to put the cable in. does one do this? Okay, so I don't think I can push it any harder. Reset. Then nothing happens. RTFM. You guys know the term RTFM? I always neglect RTFM. So I'm kind of a dumbass because it came with like this bag of these things with an eye on it. And those should be the right size. And this is way bigger than the cable. Well, not way bigger, but the cable is 8WG. This thing is 8 AWG. Oh, work. You need to put it on work, otherwise it doesn't work. This is kind of a hassle. Keeping it exactly in the right position. So I presume that if these like metal blocks are on top of each other, then that I can't go any further, right? Like I can still push it though. Which is a little weird. Reset. And it just comes off like that. RTFM. The girls are waiting for lunch, right? Maybe you want lunch and dinner? So these things are for big dogs. I consider you guys big dogs. No? Zoe. Where to take it? This one is even bigger, and you're bigger also, Stephen, so let's see if you can handle it. He looks very proud with it. Somehow these big bones are always confusing. Let me just draw a little schematics of what we are trying to do. Because in the last video there were a lot of comments on how things are going to be connected. You guys didn't even think that the solar was going to be on there, so solar array. Inverter. This thing. Battery. Maybe later even 2 batteries. These are go into the battery connection. Then we have the solar. The solar connection is actually here, but I'm gonna like do it like this. The solar is gonna go in there. And then we have two more connections here. That's a AC in and a AC out. Now from the house we're gonna have electricity coming in into the house. Then we have our general breaker box from the house, BB house. And one of the breakers, like maybe a 16 amp breaker, is going to feed this AC in. So if there's not enough solar, it will take power from the grid to fill up the batteries. This AC out here from the inverter is basically going to sort of replace everything that's on this breaker box from the house now. So we're going to have an extra breaker box. And we're going to connect all of our appliances from the house to that breaker box. New breaker box. I don't know if we're actually going to do everything, but most of the stuff in the house and from the shed and everything is going to go on here. So, girls, you're really driving me crazy today, do you know that? So we now have sort of, what is it, 4.5 kilowatts in this incoming house connection. And what is going to come out of this inverter, this inverter is 6,000 watts. So that's going to be roughly the same as what we have now. So yeah, that. So basically the whole house is going to run off the batteries from the system. And the batteries are either going to be topped up by solar or just by the grid. So hopefully not too much by the grid, because then we're going to lose a little bit of efficiency, because it needs to charge the batteries, and then I'm actually going to use the same power to power everything like it is connected now. So it's mainly going to be the solar needs to be sort of like active for this to sort of make sense. So this is the main thing, the inverter. This thing. One of the batteries you already saw in the shed. Probably have another one, otherwise we're not going to reach the capacity that we need. This is our mains connection. We're going to have one breaker coming in through the inverter to feed the batteries when the solar is not enough to feed the batteries. And then the inverter is going to power a new breaker box that is going to power most of the house. I hope that makes sense. Now there needs to be also breakers in between. It would be nice to have a breaker in between the solar and a switch to turn off the connection from and to the solar if we want to work on it. We need to see if the batteries need an extra breaker. The battery has a breaker already, but maybe when you connect more in line it would be wise to have another breaker. Yeah, the AC input and the AC output are also getting breakers. So anybody sees any objections with this system? Eventually, I think, like when we really gonna need more power, then we just like buy another one of these, like my Sumo inverter, and then we should be able to somehow also redirect this battery pack here. Or do we need separate battery pack? That would not be very efficient, because then we also need probably 2 solar arrays. Let's see we get the simpler setup working first, right? Because we're far from there yet. It is fun though to wrap your brain around some new stuff and new information. How's it going? Where's the other one? What you doing? Did you bury it? She didn't eat it yet. I don't think she's that fast. Huh?